I utilised to work at a gas station. I, as it were, worked there for approximately a month, but still had a terrifying involvement. When I worked there, it was for the most part at night. One time, I was working by myself, but it truly wasn't that late, however. I think it was possibly almost 10 o'clock at night. Clients were coming in here, and they're lovely unfaltering up to that point. But at approximately 10 o'clock is when things truly begun to calm down. So I was fair standing there behind the counter, and the final client cleared out. For the following hour or so, things were exceptionally calm. I think we got fair 2 or 3 individuals interior, and fair a number of more got gas. At that point, the store was totally purge. Things got to be exceptionally calm, and I got to be exceptionally bored. When this happened, I would as a rule fair go on my phone. There was nothing that truly required to be done at that time. Perhaps 10 minutes went by, but I abruptly listened to clamour. It was coming from the back conclusion of the store, a portion that I couldn't see. Presently, the store wasn't that huge and had possibly 5 walkways I'd up to, but there were ranges out of my vision still. It was startling since I was 100% beyond any doubt that no one was in there. I got up from where I was to see, but I was truly beautiful anxious. At that point, I listened another commotion. I inquired in the event that anyone was there, but I got no reaction. I began strolling down one of the paths towards where the commotion was. I truly needed to fair turn around and take off it alone, in spite of the fact that once I made it to where I had listened to clamour, I still saw nothing. But fair seconds afterward, as I was still kind of looking around, I listened another commotion, presently within the following walkway over. I looked and at that point saw a man show up from around the corner. I have no thought where he came from or where he had been. He had longer hair and a longer facial hair as well. The man strolled right up to me and come to out his hand. I seemed to tell he was holding something but didn't know what. I had no clue what he was doing until I felt a stun and fell to the ground. The man tased me. I was down, and he at that point ventured over me, and I saw him snatch a few irregular things off the rack. He at that point hollered a few arbitrary sentences that I didn't listen exceptionally well. I fair keep in mind hearing 1 or 2 of revile words. After that, he cleared out. I was still on the ground for like a miniature, and after that at long last got up. At that point I called the police. I detailed the fellow, and the cops appeared up unawares afterward, but the man was long gone. We looked at security film, and the fellow actually covered up around behind one of the passageways for over an hour. I have no thought what he was doing. I fair know that after that, I stopped. Typically something that happened when I was remaining in a lodging a number of a long time back. I was on a trip with my best companion Emily, and this was on the moment night that we were there. We were remaining a small ways exterior of the city since it was cheaper. The area where we were remaining appeared beautiful nice though. Late at night, we were reaching to go to the gas station to induce a few snacks, but Emily's boyfriend called her on the phone, and they began talking for hours, so I went on my claim. The zone around the inn was essentially a handful of other businesses that were presently closed. At that point, there was a gas station that was open. I cleared out the lodging and went down the walkway to walk there. It took me perhaps 5 minutes, and no one else was exterior. When I got into the gas station, there were really a parcel of individuals in there, likely around 10, and the store was a small bit bigger than most. There was a gigantic choice of snacks and drinks, and I was interior for perhaps 5 to 10 minutes. I picked out a number of items, and at that point checked out and cleared out. When I was interior of the store, I didn't truly take note anything bizarre happening, or anyone appearing suspicious. I do review, in spite of the fact that right after I cleared out, I listened the entryway open and someone clearing out behind me. I didn't think much of it, clearly, but when I cleared out the stopping parcel and was back on the walkway, the individual taken after, I sort of looked behind me and saw that there was a man strolling a ways back. He was wearing a grey sweatshirt and a winter cap. He taken after me on the walkway, and we both strolled back within the heading of the lodging. This street that I was strolling nearby was kind of a back street and exceptionally calm. There wasn't truly a huge reason to walk down it right presently other than to likely go back to the lodging. So when the man proceeded to walk behind me, I trusted that he was moreover remaining at the lodging. I couldn't offer assistance, but feel a small bit anxious, in spite of the fact that before long I made it all the way back to the lodging stopping part. The man was the same separate behind me, and still there. I walked into the campaign of the lodging, and the man taken after me in. Then I strolled to the stairs, since I didn't need to be within the lift with the fellow. I figured that in case he truly did remain here, at that point he would take the lift like most individuals, but no, he taken after me to the stairs. After I got into the stairwell, I let the entryway near inside a second. After it closed, I listened it opening. I knew the man was reaching to take after me up. I strolled up the stairs to where our room was on the 3rd floor. When I was strolling up the stairs, I texted Emily to come to the room entryway and open it. Luckily, she saw my content inside seconds and said that she would. I have to be our floor, and once more closed the entryway to the stairwell behind me. I was around 20 feet down the corridor when I listened it opening. I couldn't accept that the man was still taking after me. Our room was a ways down, so I kept strolling, but I strolled much quicker presently. I may listen the strides behind me drawing nearer quick, and he was gaining on me, but I didn't see behind. Before long I saw our door open marginally since Emily was holding it. At that point, I strolled even faster and out to the entryway. I rapidly went interior and pummeled the entryway closed behind me. It consequently bolted, but I put the other old-fashioned bolt on it as well. I then looked through the peephole and saw the man walk right up to the entryway. At that point, he kind of strolled absent gradually, as it were to return a few seconds afterward. When he did, he knocked on the door. I certainly was not getting to reply it. I moved absent from the entryway. Emily didn't truly know what was going on and was exceptionally confounded. The man thumped on the entryway one more time around a minute later. At that point at last he strolled absent. I told Emily the story of what happened. I'm truly happy that she was able to hold the entryway open for me. In the event that not, I would have had to open the entryway myself with the key, which would have likely moderated me down 5 to 10 seconds at slightest. The man may have been able to close in on me. I do not know who the fellow was or why he followed me, but I truly do not think he was really remaining in our hotel. I utilized to work at a gas station. This was approximately 20 a long time back. I worked there for possibly a year and never truly preferred it that much. That's since for most of the time that I worked there, I would be working overnight shifts. The little comfort store that was portion of the gas station was open 24/7, and when I worked, I would be all by myself overnight. There was no require for any other workers, since we barely got any clients within the store overnight. The area of the gas station was somewhat rustic. A few cars would continuously come in and get gas here and there, but not numerous individuals would come interior. I figure that made the work simple for most of the time, but still in some cases things were forlorn and to some degree unpleasant. I was all by myself within the centre of the night, and now and then crude characters would come in. But through all that, I was able to proceed my work. That's until one night when the encounter I had broke the final straw for me and caused me to stop. It happened one Friday night as I worked an overnight move. It was almost 11 o'clock p.m. I hadn't had any clients within the store for very a few time. From where I was behind the counter, I seemed to see out to the 4 gas pumps that we had. They sat empty. Indeed, the street another to the gas station was exceptionally calm. Then I saw headlights within the distance. Before long the vehicle moderated down, and after that entered the gas station. It was a bigger white SUV. Looking back, I believe it to be a 1996 Chevy Rural. It drove around gradually, and after that stopped at one of the gas pumps. The way that it was stopped was so that it was confronting straightforwardly absent from me, and I may see the back window. I didn't think much of it, and just assumed it to be another client filling their tank. I fair sat behind the counter, but after some minutes, I did take note that no one had gotten out of the vehicle, however. Ordinarily, someone would have gotten out by presently and gotten the gas, or strolled interior the store, but whoever was driving the truck was still interior of it. A small bit interesting, but still, it wasn't an enormous bargain. Presently, I wasn't fair gazing at them the total time, but I seemed clearly see them from out the enormous window within the gas station, and I didn't truly have anything else to do either. So, at slightest 30 minutes passed, and still nobody had gotten out of the car. Presently this was really peculiar. In the interim, I did notice one other car came and got gas at another pump, and after that it left. Then it was back to just me and the SUV at the pump. After a few more minutes, I got up to induce something to drink, and after that I returned to my spot behind the counter. When I did, I realized that I may presently see somebody within the back of the SUV. The raised window was tinted, but I might tell that someone was looking out of it. Their confront was so near that I might see them. It was a man, and I keep in mind that he was looking right at me with these wide eyes. I didn't know in the event that he was the one who had been driving the SUV or not, but still, no one had gotten out of it. I looked at him for approximately a miniature, and he gazed at me the entire time. I was so creeped out by it. I keep in mind that I looked absent, and attempted to divert myself with other things for a whereas, but this was so strange that I kept looking back to the car to see in the event that the fellow was still looking, and each time that I looked back he was. He remained there gazing at me out the back, scarcely moving, for nearly an hour. I truly couldn't believe that it went on for so long. Remembering back presently, I'm not exactly beyond any doubt why, but I decided to get up and go exterior. Possibly I was fair inquisitive. I do not truly think I had eagerly of talking to whoever this individual was, but I got up from behind the counter and strolled over to the entryway. At that point, I left the store and walked out to the little walkway that we had within the front. The man was still staring at me from the back of the car, but presently he was likely 50 feet away. I took some of steps into the stopping part before the gas pumps. At that point, the man at last moved. He rapidly and suddenly ducked down and out of my locate. At that point, I saw a few development, but couldn't tell what it was. Looking back, I accept that it was the man slithering over the seats. Possibly 10 seconds afterward, as I still stood there, the SUV abruptly began to move. It went in switch and was rapidly backing up straight towards me. When I realized this, I had to quickly move back and up onto the walkway. The SUV continued to go in switch, and I moved back right up against the building. Then I listened to squealing skid marks, and the SUV came to a halt fair feet absent from me. I truly thought that I was going to get run over, and the fellow was aiming to back into the building, but he didn't. When he ceased, he at that point exceptionally quickly drove off, moving forward and shrieking his tire within the process. He cleared out the gas station and went back onto the street, and after that went out of sight. I was truly in stun at what had happened, and I couldn't accept it. The fellow attempted to run me over. I went back interior and was fair trusting that he wouldn't return. Luckily, he didn't. After that, I put in my take note to stopped. That whole experience was so odd. I have no thought what the fellow was doing gazing at me for so long, and after that apparently attempting to run me over.